sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
And good evening from Phoenix, Arizona. We are downtown Chase Field. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. It's the Brew Crew and the Arizona Diamondbacks, Game 2 of this 4-game series. Good pitching matchup here. The big right-hander from Florida, Jimmy Nelson, against left-hander Patrick Corbin. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Chase Field in Phoenix. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Telly Hughes, our reporter tonight. Well, the Brewers trying to shake off a loss from last night. As a matter of fact, they've lost back-to-back games now and trying to get back to winning ways. And they're going to give the ball tonight to a guy who's done a lot of winning here recently, and that's Jimmy Nelson. And the question is, can he emerge into one of those top few spots in the rotation?
Well, he's starting to find that consistency, having a very good month of July. He's actually won 4 of his last 5 decisions, and actually Jimmy Nelson this year only has 3 no decisions all season long. A 2-1 record, a 284 earned run average, and that includes the only loss this month. That was a game against the Dodgers in L.A. We give up 3 unearned runs. So Jimmy Nelson's been able to pitch deep into games. He's pitching into the 6th inning in each of his 3 July starts with less than 100 pitches. So starting to find that consistency, being more conservative with his pitches. The pitch count's been in pretty good shape.
Well, the 26-year-old right-hander gets the ball. Craig Counsell, the skipper. We take you back a little bit, back to his playing days in Arizona. Telly Hughes has more on that when we continue from Phoenix.
You by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. After coming up short in the series opener, the Brewers look for a bounce-back performance tonight to even the series score against the Diamondbacks. Good evening and welcome back to Chase Field, where Brewers manager Craig Counsell returns for the first time as a big league manager. Counsell is beloved here in Arizona, and going back to his days as a Diamondback, Counsell was known as a hustler. But remember, the 2001 NLCS MVP did do damage as a D-back. In the 01 NLCS, Counsell batted .381 with 3 doubles and 4 RBI, and being back reminds him of that World Series run.
And I love coming back here. I mean, every time you walk on this field, you know, the first thing you think about is Game 7 of the World Series. And I spent 5 years playing here. It was 5, years where I was actually a decent player. So it's good memories. I had a great time playing here, and the fans treated me great when I was here for sure.
Coming up, Jimmy Nelson will take the bump in hopes of getting the Brewers back on the winning track. B.A. and Rock will be back on the other side of the break with the first pitch and call from Phoenix next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Lights are up, the roof is closed, and thank goodness 102 degrees outside right now in Phoenix, Arizona. But a very comfortable, climate-controlled 78 degrees. They're still filing in here at Chase Field on a Friday night. Great to have you with us. Craig Counsell, the former Diamondback. And a nice little piece there by Telly Hughes. And Counsell still loves coming back to Chase Field, and he always gets a big hand whenever he is introduced. Got his record to 35 and 36. The Brewers have dropped back-to-back games to drop him back under 500. Here is his batting order tonight. It is brought to you by Potawatomi. Segura is back in the leadoff spot. Diamondbacks have a left-handed pitcher on the mound tonight. LUCROY, then BRAUN. Gomez, Lind, and Chris Davis in there tonight. And then Perez, Hector Gomez, and Jimmy Nelson round out the Brewers 9 that will face a guy coming off not 1 but 2 Tommy John ligament replacement procedures. Patrick Corbin, it's just his 4th start of the season.
Yeah, he was an all-star in 2013, 26 years old, 6'3", 210 pounds, not a hard thrower. You mentioned a Tommy John surgery. That came back in March of 2014, making start number 4 here tonight. He's got a 2-1 record in 3 games and 2 starts against the Brewers in his career. Well, let's check out the Menards Diamondbacks defense tonight. You got Peralta, Pollock, and INCIARTE in the outfield. Lamb, Ahmed, Owings, and Goldschmidt, the Gold Glover, over at first base, and Oscar Hernandez behind home plate. And the Diamondbacks, one of the best defensive teams in the National League, and they showed that last night. Played very tight D last night in the win against Milwaukee.
Now that was an 8-3 Arizona win last night. There's Paul Schreiber. He'll call the balls and strikes tonight. Alan Porter, Mark Ripperger, and Brian O'Nora, who is the third base umpire, is the crew chief this evening. Brian, in a very animated conversation before we get our ball game underway. I think everybody's got the right jersey on tonight for the Brewers. The Diamondbacks are back in their regular uniforms after a throwback Thursday last night. And we are ready for baseball tonight. So great to have you with us. Brewers, Diamondbacks. And Patrick Corbin's first offering is swung on and fouled away. And away we go. Brewers coming in at 42 and 54, 12 games under. Trying to chase down that 500 mark. That would be a monumental feat if they could get there. Gonna have to do a lot of winning the rest of the season. Segura got jammed right to Goldschmidt, and that's how the night begins for the left-hander from Clay, New York, Patrick Corbin, who was a big winner just 2 years ago for the Diamondbacks. 14 and 8 with a 3.41 ERA back in 2013, and then that's when the elbow began to flare up again after that season. And he was out all of last year and a good part of this season as well.
And this is the first time this year that Corbin's going to be working on normal rest. He's had extra days in between starts. He's gotten up to about 90 pitches a couple of times. We'll see how long he lasts here tonight. A good athlete, hard to run on. Really can't get a good jump off of Corbin, so we're just going to have to earn their runs here tonight. Doesn't walk too many either.
Facing Jonathan Lucroy with one away. Well, the Brewers didn't have much going on offensively last night. It was an 8-3 final score, but all three of those runs came on a ninth inning Ryan Braun home run. Only 7 hits last night for the Brewers. Diamondbacks got a win from their rookie pitcher making his major league debut last night. Zach Godley went 6 shutout innings, struck out 7. Mike Fiers took the loss for the Brewers, giving up 4 earned runs in 5 innings, although he struck out 10. And the Brewers pitchers ended up with 16 strikeouts last night of the Diamondbacks.
You don't normally lose games when you strike out that many.
That's going to get down, a base hit. Jonathan Lucroy with a single to right. After a 1-for-4 night last night, Lucroy has a hit on the board early here this evening and a base runner for Ryan Braun.
Corbin works both sides of the plate pretty well and tried to attack Lucroy on the outer half of the plate. Lucroy able to dump one down the line at right. And fastball slider change for the big tall left-hander.
So here is Braun, who was able to salvage a night at the ballpark last night. Prior to his final at bat, he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Very un-Braun like. You don't see him strike out multiple times in a game, and he's jumping on the first pitch. Wow, what a play by Ahmed. Get the out at second. Too late at first, but Nick Ahmed takes a hit away from Ryan Braun. That was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he can pick it. We talk about the Diamondbacks defensively, the third best fielding team in the league, and there's a good example of it right there. Good play by Ahmed, got the lead runner, and the Diamondbacks weren't satisfied with that. Almost turned 2.
Looked like that ball took a bad hop on him as well, and in mid-flight he was able to redirect the glove and make the play. Arizona is a very good defensive team, and they are anchored down by their Gold Glove first baseman in Paul Goldschmidt. They've got a young club. They run well. They are building for the future. You figure when they get a few of their pitchers back in place, maybe go sign a pitcher this offseason, they're going to be a factor in the National League West.
And until last night, they just weren't hitting all that much. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position, not able to get runs on the board, but they did a pretty good job of that last night.
So 2 men out for Carlos Gomez with Braun at first. And as Rock mentioned, even though Braun and Gomez and Segura are base stealers, it is tough to run on Patrick Corbin. He keeps runners close and does a good job controlling the running game.
And teams just don't run on him. In his career, only 15 attempts, and 7 of those have been caught stealing. So it's tough to run on.
No balls, 1 strike. Gomez takes a ball down and away. Last night, Carlos was 1 for 4. Had a double in last night's game, which was his 19th double of the year, to go along with 8 home runs. He's driven in 42 this season. He's having a good year, solid year. And he's been dealing with some injuries. I talked to Craig Counsell before the game about Gomez's groin injury that's actually manifested itself into the hip area. And he said no problems. He's 100%. He is being probably cautious just because of the muscle memory. But when he needs to take off, he takes off. When he needs to get at top speed. And Ed Cedar confirmed that as well. He said he has no hesitation with Gomez or thinking about any kind of leg injury with him.
Yeah, picking his spots. I mean, he will go and get him in the outfield. Take the extra base, but when he doesn't have to, he's just kind of taking it easy.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Gomez swings and misses on a hook from Corbin. Inning over, the Brewers come up empty, and now big jam on the mound. Jimmy Nelson matching up against Corbin tonight. Got a good pitching matchup. Second game of this series. There is Chip Hale on the right, first-year Diamondbacks manager. They let Kurt Gibson go last year, and Hale is in this new regime here in Arizona, fronted by Tony La Russa in the front office. Hale's Potawatomi batting order has Inciarte, Pollock, and Goldschmidt at the top. David Peralta's back tonight. He hits behind Goldschmidt. Chris Owings back in the lineup as well. Then Jake Lamb, Nick Ahmed, Oscar Hernandez, and Patrick Corbin round out the starting 9 that'll face Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, Jimmy's been throwing the baseball pretty well. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts and has decisions in 9 in a row. He's 2-1 in July and a .284 earned run average. And that includes a pretty good start against the Pirates at Miller Park and a win.
Brewers swept the Pirates in Milwaukee. Nelson part of that, and he's hoping to keep it going here tonight. He's had a great month of July. It'll be his second to last start in the month. And he's got a chance to win the pitcher of the month for the Brewers. He's made 4 starts, make it 3 starts this month, including that 4th of July outing against Cincinnati, where he got the win. He's beaten 2 division opponents in the month. On the road in Cincinnati and at home against the Pirates. And you like to see that. Starting INCIARTE 3-0 to start the ball game. And that one's in there. Diamondbacks have their lineup back intact tonight with David Peralta, Chris Owings, Jake Lamb, all out of the starting lineup yesterday, all back in there today. Oh, there's a good comeback sinker in there for a strike. That's a good sign early for Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, the power two-seamer has been a good pitch for him to go along with the slider. There's been a lot more sliders as of late, last couple of starts, than curveballs. That was much different early in the year.
And the payoff pitch slapped fair inside the line. Oh, and the bald dude made a play on it, not knowing it was a fair ball. Oh, and he just wants to go hide. You feel bad for him. He's doing his best, just trying to make a play and make a fan's day. And
yeah, too bad, but it would have been just a double. Chris Davis was going to get it right there.
I mean, he did make a nice play. We got to give him that.
He was proud of himself for just a second, and then he realized what happened.
And then he's looking for a hole to climb in. That's all right, ball dude. You can't teach people to care, and you care. It's going to be a double, no harm done. Twitter's all over him. Double number 15 for INCIARTE, and he is aboard for A.J. Pollock, who was a tough out last night for the Brewers, hitting behind Goldschmidt. Yesterday, Pollock was 3 for 5. He drove in 2 runs. He scored a run. Had a triple in last night's game.
Yeah, a lot of offense for the Diamondbacks, you know, around all those strikeouts. Kind of an unusual night.
A jam shot foul. Pollock was a home run from the cycle last night. Had a triple, a double, and a single. He's a good player. All-star this season for the Diamondbacks. Outstanding center fielder. He checks in 10th in the National League in batting. .307 average, and he leads all major league outfielders in hits.
Yeah, top of this lineup's been pretty good.
They got a good thing going here in Arizona. A lot of young players. They're building for the future, but they look like they have some talent.
Got to get some pitchers back and healthy. So a youngster basically coming up from A-ball, made 3 starts in Double-A before last night. The Brewer hitters around the batting cage last night, raving about the way he was throwing the baseball. Godley, major league debut.
Leadoff batter reaching second base on a double, and Pollock, big chopper foul. See Hernan Perez over at third base again tonight. It's going to be his job for the short term. They're hoping he can make it a long-term situation. He certainly is. As we take a look at the rest of the Brewers defensively, courtesy of Menards. You got Chris Davis in the starting lineup tonight. Parra and Jeanette get the day off. Hector Gomez back in the starting lineup at second base. Been a while since he's been out there.
There's only one left-handed bat in the lineup tonight. That's Adam Lind.
Hector excited to get the playing time here tonight. His last start was June 15th. That was against Kansas City. Pickoff play back as INCIARTE.
Yeah, he was in the starting lineup back in the homestand, but Liriano was scratched right before the ball game, and he lost his start. Craig Counsell decided to put Counsell back, or I should say Jeanette back at second base.
Two and two to Pollock with the speedy INCIARTE at second base, and there is a called strike 3, and that emphatic strike call of Paul Schreiber. Pitchers love seeing that.
Right down the middle.
Caught him guessing.
Maybe looking breaking pitch, but this pitch literally down the middle of the plate. And Pollock caught looking. I'd like to have that one back.
So Nelson will deal with Paul Goldschmidt. There is a base open at first, and I realize we're in the first inning, but he is the one bat in this lineup that you'd be very careful with. Had an intentional walk in last night's game. He leads the National League in walks, and he does big damage in the first inning of games. So overall, he's hitting .344. That is the best batting average in the National League, but he's hitting .392 in the first innings of games. And 5 of his 21 home runs have come in the first inning for whatever reason.
And that's normally when Jimmy Nelson has his struggles, first innings when he does struggle. So it's going to be a tough matchup for him. 75 walks for Paul Goldschmidt. 20 of those have been intentional walks.
Goes about his business very quietly. Maybe understated a touch, but he carries a big bat. And inside the game, especially in that opposing dugout, everybody knows exactly who Paul Goldschmidt is and the kind of talent that he is.
And you always know where he's coming up. I mean, you always, when you're looking at, bullpen action, you always know when Goldschmidt's going to be coming up in an inning, and you pitch accordingly. You try to avoid him. Impact player.
1-2 pitch. Slider misses down and away. He has a great eye. Diamondbacks staff talk about his plate discipline at the plate and how well he understands his strike zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Goldschmidt, and that one's inside, ball 3. Because of that fact, he gets himself in a lot of great counts.
Hey, one of those guys that if he's not going to get strikes, he's not going to swing. He's going to leave it up to the guy behind him. No sense in swinging out of the strike zone.
Here's a payoff pitch. Goldschmidt voted in by the fans as the all-star starter at first base for the 2nd consecutive year. A fractured left hand cut his season short last season. Otherwise, Goldschmidt, who knows where the numbers would have gone. Clayton Kershaw won the MVP. Goldschmidt played in 109 games, hit 19 homers. He hit 36 home runs the year before, 2 years ago. 36 bombs, 125 RBIs. And that was the year he had an OPS of .952. And that was pretty much the year that Paul Goldschmidt went from great young talent to superstar player.
I think go on and on, couldn't you? I mean, talking about the stats, let alone what he does off the field.
8th pitch of the at-bat for Goldschmidt. And he fouls another one off.
He's had some pitches that hit in this at bat. He's fouled them off. They say he has not been swinging the bat like Paul Goldschmidt can as of late. One of the reasons that the Diamondbacks had been struggling before last night.
There's a lot of offense that turns through Goldschmidt. Got a leadoff double. Now 1 out. Goldschmidt takes a ball down and away.
Yeah.
LUCROY, he wanted that one. It didn't miss by much, but Goldschmidt draws the walk, and 1st and 2nd with 1 away.
Yeah, looked like a good pitch. Paul Schreiber, home plate umpire, didn't ring it up. LUCROY having to chat with him. Not sure where this misses. This is a Paul Goldschmidt call right here on the 3-2 pitch.
Figuring if he saw it as a ball, it must have been a ball. That's when you know you're a superstar in the game, when you start to get those calls.
Right.
So he is aboard. 2 on with 1 away. Here is David Peralta, who was not in the starting lineup yesterday. He was hit in the ear Jose Fernandez fastball of the Miami Marlins on Wednesday night, and they took him out for precaution. You can still see the little scrape right there by his left ear flap.
And fortunate that it got the helmet, and even when they do hit the helmet and they have big velocity, it could do some damage, but he's fortunate to be back in the lineup so quickly.
Really is. He's a good hitter. He got a lot of pop. Another one of the emerging Diamondbacks as Nelson spins one in for strike one. And there's a wild pitch. So Nelson sends one back to the screen. That'll take him out of a double play chance to end the inning. Now second and third for Arizona. And a rough starting inning for Jimmy Nelson. That's been his Achilles heel this year. He has an ERA around 9 in the first innings of games. He knows it. It's been something that they've talked about.
Yeah. And he's having a difficult time commanding all of his pitches right now. He has not thrown a first pitch strike to the first 4 hitters.
2 balls and a strike. Peralta in a run producing role early here today. Second and third. Yeah, a swing and a foul tip right into the middle. LUCROY, 2-2 the count. Hard to figure how to correct first inning problems.
Not the first pitcher that's had to deal with. And a lot of your good pitchers, you have to get them before they settle in, get comfortable out there on the mound.
This is already his 25th pitch of the inning. Oh, and a slider misses. That is a good breaking ball. It makes you feel like the Diamondbacks might have something on Nelson.
They might know it's coming. They're just taking it like they know it's coming.
Now, you can't put that in a better spot. And Peralta takes it for a ball. Goldschmidt took one that was borderline. Makes you wonder. Every at bat, there's been at least 5 pitches already. You may not give up any runs in the first inning, but it does set you up for an early exit when you're making this many pitches right out of the gates. There's a swing and a miss. He didn't see that one coming, and down he goes.
And again, I guess if they knew something was coming, they'd be all over the fastball, which they have not. And go right back to the bread and butter. That was out of the strike zone. Peralta pulls his head, and Jimmy gets a big strikeout with a man at third base.
Both of his outs are K's, and now a chance to get out of this first inning. Here is Chris Owings.
It's kind of the way it was last night, right? All the strikeouts. Was it 4 straight innings almost? The Diamondbacks, every out was a strikeout.
Yeah, the Brewers had 3 consecutive innings striking out the side. Ground ball, third base, foul ball. Just missed the bag.
A nice play by Perez. And down the line, just in case, he kept it in the webbing.
Brewers trading Aramis Ramirez yesterday. Perez informed he'll be the third baseman. Those are the splits we're talking about for Jimmy Nelson. Look at all that first inning damage. 354 opponent's batting average in the first inning. 1 for 3 tonight. As he moves on and tries to elevate into a front of the rotation pitcher, that'll be something to try to clean up. But it is not unprecedented. There have been a lot of power pitchers have a tough time getting started in games. Justin Verlander comes to mind. Even Max Scherzer, especially when he was here in Arizona.
Remember Dave Bush pitched for the Brewers, had a difficult time in the first inning. Tried a lot of different things to correct that. Nice block by Luke. Look how far away from home plate he is.
Saves a run. It's expected, but it is appreciated. It's like hitting a home run for a catcher when you do that with a runner at third base.
Should be a stat, right?
I agree. Catcher saves. 1-2 to Owings, second and third. And a little cue shot. Hard slider by Nelson. When Mike Scioscia was the catching instructor of the Dodgers, I was a broadcaster in the minor leagues for the Dodgers, and he asked us, he called all the broadcasters, single A all the way through triple A, and he asked us to keep catcher saves, catcher's ERA. He was into the metrics, a man before his time.
Right.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Nelson strikes out the side. A ton of pitches in the first inning, but puts up a 0 to get started. Right on the front row on the dugout. That's a great seat. Just pay attention down there now, kids. Got the cameras out. Everybody's got their own camera. Say, Fox Sports Wisconsin is giving away great prizes during every Brewers broadcast in July. Prizes include Brewers merchandise, Miller Park tours, autographed merchandise, and more. And here is tonight's Watch 'em and Win 'em sweepstakes image. Log on to foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the Watch 'em and Win 'em banner on the homepage to enter. And if you're not a winner tonight, tune in again tomorrow for another chance to win.
That's a lot of cameras, isn't it?
For one family, yes.
I didn't know people actually had cameras anymore. You just take pictures with your phone.
Everybody gets their own camera. It's good work. Nachos are down. Kid's got a loose tooth. He's going to pull that thing out tonight. Adam Lynn takes a strike. Look at him. He's working on it. Tooth Fairy's coming up big tonight.
What's a Tooth Fairy give for a tooth these days?
I don't know. I'm out of that game. Guess it depends on how nice the child is to the parents. It's on a scale, you know.
Yeah, it used to be a quarter when I used to lose teeth.
Well, I think it's a little more than that. I mean, if it's not paper, it's not really worth it. Ground ball by Lind with the shift on, and there is out number one. Here's Chris Davis. He's glad to get the start tonight. Parra's swinging the bat so well, he has lost some of his playing time since coming back from the torn meniscus in his knee, his right knee. Knocked him out for a month, had to have surgery on that meniscus. But he is a hometown kid here in the Phoenix area. Ground ball, nice play by Corbin. Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, he fields his position well. He does a lot of things very well. And holding runners and fielding his position, one of them.
So 2 up, 2 down. Now to bring up Hernan Perez. Glad to see he's got the right jersey on tonight. He had a double with The other jersey, though, that I don't know.
He changed the jersey, then he went 0 for 3 the rest of the night. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting the wrong jersey underneath the right jersey.
No, you could do that.
Double up.
Be a little uncomfortable, I'm guessing, but whatever it takes, man. Now, yesterday, the Brewers have 2 navy blue tops. They have the home version, which says Brewers, and then the road version, which says Milwaukee. Honest mistake.
But I'm not sure that you pack the one that says Brewers for a road trip.
It's not, maybe not for BP. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
That's a home jersey.
So both of those are home jerseys, you're saying. A home T-shirt, that's a road version. So then everybody in the ballpark knows you're from Milwaukee. You need that. 2-2 to Perez. Wear gray on the road. If you're not wearing a gray jersey, wear gray pants. White at home. That ball's ripped. And it's down. A base hit. Wow. Almost cut off. Peralta had to go off his glove, and that's going to end up as a double for Perez.
Not the jersey after all. It's Hernan Perez. So just like he did last night, first time up, he doubled into left field. And Corbin trying to come inside, but Perez waiting for it, and he rips it out of the reach of Peralta in left.
Yeah, if he cuts it off, he might have a chance. He has a very good arm. He might have a chance at Perez, who is an average runner, but an easy double. He continues to impress. He has really swung the bat well. Be curious to get the Tigers' reaction watching Perez hit like this. He hit in the minor leagues for the Tigers.
Never got an opportunity to play much for the big club with Detroit. That's a tough lineup to break into.
And now the Tigers are talking about maybe trading some pieces. That's going to be an interesting follow to see if the Tigers are sellers. They're hovering around that 500 mark. It's a tough call when you get to this time of the year with that second wild card slot available.
Right. You just don't know if you're in it or out of it. You're around 500, you got to stay pat, or at least you might add something. You might never know what could happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hector Gomez into the starting lineup for the first time in a little over 6 weeks.
And he'll come in for defense once in a while, pinch run. Get a pinch hitting opportunity, but it has been tough to find that starting lineup.
He's got some power. Doesn't show up in the home run numbers in the big leagues just yet, but he's got a little thump. A swing and a miss. That's his nemesis there. The scouting report on Gomez, Hector Gomez, is the breaking ball is how to get him out, but he can hit a fastball. His first and only career major league home run came against Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. If you're going to hit just one at this point, that's a good one to have on the board.
That's good on the mantle.
Kershaw went the distance last night, got a win against the Mets. A little tapper. Corbin really playing his position well. He's made 2 excellent plays, and he puts up a couple of zeros to start tonight. D-backs coming to bat.
Second, we here at Fox Sports Wisconsin want to send our prayers and thoughts to the victims and their families of the mass shooting at a Lafayette, Louisiana theater that left 2 dead. This tragedy hits home for Jonathan LUCROY, who makes his off-season home in Lafayette.
Yeah, I've been in that movie theater 1,000 times. You know, I have, and ever since college, I was going to that movie theater. It's literally right next to the gym I work out in. You know, just hope and pray for their families, and you know, the other victims in the hospital is all you can do.
One of the victims that died co-owned a gift shop that Jonathan LUCROY said he has visited often. He said he's bought many gifts there. So this was a tragedy, B.A. and Rock, that really touched home for Jonathan LUCROY. And like he said, we just send our thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families.
Yeah, no question. Good story, Telly. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for Jonathan LUCROY offering up those thoughts. And yeah, we heard last night after the game that this was a theater he was very familiar with, as Jake Lamb bounces out on the first pitch, and does give you a little perspective. You go through a season, the grind of a baseball season, and you know, LUCROY's dealt with some injuries. We were talking at the batting cage before the game. It's surreal. He's just shaking his head. He can't believe the extreme violence that happens right there in what should be a safe place, and right there in his backyard.
Yeah, just senseless, and you know, it kind of puts a perspective. It doesn't make those offers that important to you. But you just hope and pray for the families that they're going to be able to cope and handle that, and hope that stuff doesn't happen much anymore. It just seems to be getting out of hand.
Nelson with one away. Here is Nick Ahmed. Jimmy could use a quick inning here. Had a bit of a grinder in the first inning, but he struck out the side in the first, issuing 1 walk to Goldschmidt on a borderline pitch. Gave up the double to start it by INCIARTE. Ground ball, shortstop, long throw, Segura right on the money. Good play.
A nice play by Segura. That's a lot tougher of a play than it looks. You know, just to keep your balance, and he'll circle that baseball as he got there in the hole, and then off balance, making a good strong throw. Check this out, the way he circles it to get his momentum a little bit more towards first base, and an off balance throw gets him by plenty. That's a terrific play by Segura.
Both ground balls to Segura. 2 up, 2 down. Oscar Hernandez, the young catcher, making just his 4th start in the big leagues. He had a hit last night that was the key moment in the ball game. Mike Fiers looked like he was close to getting out of a mess. He had 2 on, nobody out, bottom of the order, but then Hernandez, after a long battle in a 3-2 pitch, he singled and drove in a run. And that kind of set the tone. Arizona would score 3 more runs in that inning. And Fiers, who had good stuff last night, I mean, he was really on his game. He had 10 strikeouts in 5 innings. But there were just a few hitters in through there that he could not put away, and Hernandez was one of them. That is the Diamondback starter last night, Godley, who in his major league debut got the win in 6 shutout innings.
It's just one of those nights. I mean, sometimes when you have your good stuff, you're not going to win. They're going to get some hits on you. That young man was very impressive last night, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. The fact that the Brewers around the batting cage today had great things to say about the way he threw the baseball.
Well, Jimmy Nelson puts one right by Hernandez. 2 ground outs and a strikeout. Nice quick inning for him. He needed that.
Game winner, Fountain Tavern in Oshkosh. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2015 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Well, here we go to the third. No score here at Chase Field in Phoenix. Jimmy Nelson, Patrick Corbin matching up. Nelson has 4 strikeouts already. And he will lead off here in the third inning. Nelson, Segura, LUCROY coming up. Had another trade earlier today. It was the Mets and the Braves. Another divisional trade. So the 3 trades in the last 2 days have all been inside divisions. A's, Astros, Brewers, Pirates, and now Mets, Braves.
Unusual, isn't it?
Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe going to the Mets for a couple of minor leaguers. Good move for the Mets. They certainly need some help offensively.
Yep.
Mets lost again today to the Dodgers. By the way, our old buddy Zach Greinke, he was supposed to pitch tonight, Rock. He did not pitch tonight because his wife delivered their first child. So congratulations to the Greinkes.
Yeah.
Nelson strikes out on 3 pitches. 1 away here in the third inning. So we wish Zach the best. He's having an unbelievable season. 43 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings.
Yeah, good for the Greinkes, good for the Mets. They didn't have to face Greinke tonight.
They get him Sunday though.
Okay.
As a father, it'll be a first outing as a father.
Yeah. Well, he'll be a little bit more tired.
Greinke's having the kind of year Kershaw had last year. And now Kershaw is having the kind of year Kershaw had last year in his last handful of starts.
And even the beginning of his season wasn't all that bad. Just wasn't getting any wins.
Segura late on a fastball. Boy, Corbin really bringing it tonight. 94 with the fastball.
Works quickly, throws strikes, doesn't mess around.
I'd be curious to know what kind of ligament they put in that elbow. Sometimes they come from, when they do the ligament replacement surgery, it can come from the opposite wrist or an ankle, or I think around the hamstring, or it can come from a cadaver. So wherever it came from, it's a hot ligament.
And ligaments are not banned substances.
That to me is as performance enhancing as there has ever been in the game of baseball.
Right. Exactly. Right. Oh well.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Segura. Back-to-back strikeouts for Corbin.
Yeah, good slider that time to Gene Segura, who normally leads off against left-handed pitching. And Corbin will do that. Very rarely does he make a mistake with that back foot slider to right-handers.
It's a good block back there by Hernandez. Been impressed with the kid behind the plate.
And they were talking, before the game yesterday that, Hernandez has struggled in his first few starts calling a game with men on second base. Didn't see much of that last night.
No, not at all.
He did a pretty good job with the young kid. Of course, he's no youngster. He's no seasoned veteran himself, but I thought the battery worked pretty well last night. First time, obviously, that he's caught Patrick Corbin.
He's a big guy. He's about 6'3". And just his 4th start in the major leagues here tonight. The young catcher, Oscar Hernandez.
Caught a good game and got the biggest hit of the night last night.
He has been striking out a lot at the plate, but he did have a big hit against Fires last night. There's a strike from Corbin on LUCROY. 2-1. Remember, for years there was the discussion here in Arizona who was going to emerge as the starting catcher. They had a great battle of prospects. Miguel Montero and Chris Snyder. There's a line drive, base hit. Jonathan LUCROY is 2 for 2. 2 of the 3 hits for the Brewers tonight coming off the bat of LUCROY.
Putting on a show for his dad and his brother. Both of them here tonight. Yeah, Luke's brother's in the Arizona League pitching.
They have the night off. He was around the batting cage today along with Steve, LUCROY's father. Better do good with the family in town.
The Arizona Brewers are all here tonight, 35 strong. The staff and the players. And you know they're sitting there in the stands watching this game going, that's going to be me one day.
Might be sooner than later. I mean, when you consider last night's starting pitcher for the Diamondback, Godley, he was an A-ball to start the season. Bringing him up quickly these days. You never know.
We'll try to track down Gilbert Lara for you tonight. He's in the ballpark. He's the 17-year-old kid the Brewers signed out of the Dominican Republic. And he's tearing it up in the Arizona Summer League. Braun pops it up with 2 away. That will end the inning. And we're headed to the bottom of the third. Jimmy Nelson back to work. No score in Phoenix. Gerardo Parra, right up there with Baxter, the mascot, right? For a little kid. Gerardo Parra was a terrific Diamondback. Won a couple of Gold Gloves here, part of a playoff team. Traded from the Diamondbacks to the Brewers last season. Who knows how long he will be a Milwaukee Brewer. CarSoup.com trivia: which Diamondbacks player hit his lone career home run versus the Brewers? That was September 19th of 2003. So he had 1 home run in his career. He was a Diamondback. He did it against Milwaukee. The needle in the haystack CarSoup.com trivia from Dave Trout today.
That's a good one.
Jimmy Nelson back to work. He's got the pitcher on the mound, Patrick Corbin, at the plate.
Was it a pitcher?
That's a good thought. Feels about right.
Yeah, I think so. It might be a pitcher.
Corbin, a big chopper. Segura has been busy. And a close play over there, but Segura makes the play. 3 of the last 4 outs have been 6-3 ground outs.
Yeah, showing his range, showing his arm, and yeah, Segura has been very tight defensively as of late. For the most part, the Brewers have been pretty tight defensive. Made a couple of errors in last night's game, both throwing errors from Carlos Gomez.
You know, they changed one of those Gomez errors, by the way. I meant to tell you before the game. They went back and reviewed it, so they gave Hernan Perez the error on the second one.
Hey, we thought that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That was more like it. Okay.
So 2 errors last night. Gomez got the 2 errors, but then it was later changed. We were informed today. There's a strike to INCIARTE. If you're keeping your error stats at home, and I know.
And how'd you get that information, by the way?
That's got my people.
Was it on Twitter or Facebook?
I'm sure it was. There's a base hit. INCIARTE, who doubled his first time up, has the 2 Diamondbacks hits. They've both come to the opposite field. And he's 2 for 2. A 1-out base runner.
Yeah, today's No Fee Friday through midnight tonight. The Brewers are covering the cost of all ticket transaction fees, which means that for today only, you can get tickets to any remaining Brewers home games without paying any ticket fees. To get your no-fee tickets, visit Brewers.com before midnight tonight.
Unlike a Bill Schroeder autograph, there are no fees. There's a slight rock surcharge.
Processing fee.
Got to go through his handlers.
Although if you do send a an envelope with some baseball cards to the ballpark,
right,
and there's no return envelope with a stamp on it,
right,
I'm not going to send it back.
Goes in the trash.
That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a surcharge. The cost of a stamp.
Right, that's it. I'll sign them.
All those poor kids not getting those Bill Schroeder autographs back. Don't even know what a stamp is yet. Ground ball, that's going to sneak through. Base hit. A.J. Pollock with a single. Back-to-back singles. And now trouble looming here for Jimmy Nelson. 2 on, 1 out, and Goldschmidt coming up.
Pollock not about to wait back and work the count. Remember, he was caught looking his first time up on a fastball. That was right down the middle, attacking early and getting a base hit into left field.
Well, I know the fans that are here, the Diamondbacks fans, appreciate Paul Goldschmidt and what he does. You're looking at maybe a once a generation type player here in Goldschmidt. Who knows where his career is going to go, but he's had sustained success at a very high level. And these guys just don't come around very often.
Right.
He's a self-made guy. He played at a smaller college in Texas, Texas State University. It's not a major powerhouse collegiate baseball team. And he was a star there, of course. But nobody expected him to be this kind of major leaguer. Runners go, and LUCROY has to pick it. Otherwise, it's going back to the screen. A double steal. INCIARTE on the front end, Pollock on the back end. And now, you just go ahead and walk Goldschmidt here with a base open at first.
Kind of takes the bat out of his hand. You wonder why they're going to steal. Not even close. Already a 2-0 count. Why throw him strikes here? Well, they're going to go after him. Maybe see if he's going to chase, which he really does.
2-0 is the count. Second and third, 1 away. And a breaking ball misses.
How about now?
LUCROY looking in, and now they'll go ahead and put him on intentionally. Leaving it up to David Peralta.
And basically, the Diamondbacks gift wrapped that intentional walk to Goldschmidt by stealing bases. A lot of times, you'll see those guys stay put with Goldschmidt up there. And now get your double play and get out of this mess.
Puts Peralta in a big spot with the bases full. Nelson struck him out his last time up on a nasty breaking ball. I have to wonder what David Peralta's mindset is at the plate after being drilled in the head on Wednesday. That can be difficult for a hitter to come back from. No concussion problems for Peralta. Jimmy starts him with a breaking ball. This was Wednesday, and this is a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that is right at the head of Peralta.
Yeah, you can see the reaction right there. And it hit the ear flap, didn't get the skin, the flesh. He was lucky.
You could even see that reaction by Fernandez, who who won that day and struck out 11. But he was shaken up a little bit coming up and in.
Can affect a pitcher too his next time.
Peralta was taken out in the 6th inning right after that hit by pitch. He's been a hot hitter though for Arizona. On the ground, Nelson's got it. Throw to the plate, out there. LUCROY to first in time. Nicely done. 1, 2, 3 double play. Jimmy Nelson fielding his position well. So bases loaded, 1 out after walking Goldschmidt, and a gift wrap ground ball right back to the mound. Inning over, still scoreless. Double play for the Brewers to get out of the last inning. It is now time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag WisDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Send some of those fantasy camp pictures. I know there's a few that still exist. LUCROY brushing off the spikes after a beautifully turned double play. Gomez into right center, run down. INCIARTE. Hit it hard, but not a lot gets between these outfielders.
Yeah, a little bit off the end of the bat, but what a heck of a play by Jimmy Nelson and LUCROY to end that 3rd inning for the Diamondbacks. Bases loaded, 1 out. The classic 1-2-3 double play.
You know, it's interesting. Good note here by our stats man Russell. The Diamondbacks this year, after an intentional walk to Paul Goldschmidt, Arizona is 0 for 18.
That's why you walk him, right? And that's why you wonder why the Diamondbacks had the runners in motion to open up first base. I mean, with the way that guy can hit home runs, I mean, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. You're just inviting the Brewers to take the bat out of perhaps an MVP's hands.
Power company talking it over there. Goldschmidt has walked twice tonight, leads the league in that category. 0-2 to Lind. Corbin seeing just how far he'll go. He's gotten a couple of outside corner strikes.
Hey, love the way he works quickly. He doesn't mess around. He doesn't stray too far from that rubber. Gets it and goes, which tells you that Hernandez is doing a pretty good job calling the signs.
And a breaking ball gets him. Lind strikes out. That is strikeout number 4 for Corbin. 2 up, 2 down here in the 4th.
The first 3 starts for Corbin. He's going about 90 pitches, and you wonder how long he's going to go tonight. First time he's actually pitching on normal rest, 4 days rest.
Fourth start, 86 pitches, his high thus far. coming back from a second Tommy John surgery, and the Diamondbacks, you figure, will be very careful with him based on the way their season is going. Chris Davis with 2 away. Was reminiscing with Chris Davis before the game. This was the spot where his major league career really got going. 2013, he made the opening day roster. Didn't do much. He was coming off the bench. He didn't hit much. They sent him back down to the minor leagues. And then he was called back up in July right here in Arizona, right here in his hometown. And he caught fire, and he just kept hitting.
Yep.
And kept hitting home runs, and he played so well the second half of that season that he was given the starting left field job the next season, which was last season.
That's the thing about young players. I mean, they hit well, they make the team, they don't get to play a whole lot, and all the good habits they got into in spring training because they're playing every day. Sitting on the bench, you lose it, and you lose it quickly. You get a young player, you got to play him. You got to keep him in the lineup, keep him hot.
2-2 to Davis. I think just being realistic that Parra is going to continue to play. Not only is he swinging the bat well, but he is a major trade piece if the Brewers decide to go that direction. It's the final year of his contract. So I think for Davis, just be patient. There might be something done. Even Carlos Gomez has been swirling in the trade rumors as well. So who knows?
Got a week.
Davis draws the walk. 2-out walk. Good take.
He's been doing more of that in the last couple of years too. Being more patient at the plate. Trading deadline the 31st of July.
Brewers will be matching up against the Cubs at Miller Park. And there'll be a lot of discussion, I'm sure, leading up to it. Feels very similar to what's going on with the Brewers pitching right now, their starting rotation. Willie Peralta is here. He is not going to make another minor league start, according to Craig Counsell. But the Brewers have too many starters, so we'll see. Little cue shot right to Goldschmidt. He makes a catch to end the inning on a soft line drive out. Nothing but zeros so far. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham, 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. got a pitcher's duel going here tonight. No score. Jimmy Nelson's had a lot of base runners on behind him. Stranded 2 in the first, had the bases loaded with 1 out last inning. Got a double play to get out of it. And he started it. A 1-2-3 double play. So Chris Owings will lead off. Bottom of the 4th. Diamondbacks a very good offense statistically. Until last night, they had been in a bit of a team slump outside of Goldschmidt. They're still putting up decent numbers, but not the big numbers that we saw earlier this year. Arizona leads the National League in runs and triples, 2nd in the league in stolen bases, and they're 3rd in the National League in hits.
And way down in pitching, a team earned run average coming in at 417. That included last night's performance by Godley. Colorado dead last in team earned run average at 4.90.
Yeah, the Brewers were down there with them for a long time. They've been able to climb that chart a little bit with this recent stretch.
Climb 4 spots.
Just get out of the cellar in all categories.
Yep, in large part, because of the bullpen, how good they've been, and these young starters, how well they've pitched.
Nelson, 26 years of age, just turned 26 earlier this season. And you got Taylor Youngman, who's 25. He's going along better than any of them right now in his first 8 starts in the big leagues.
See him tomorrow.
He's got an ERA just over 2. Willie Peralta's coming back from the disabled list after missing 2 months with an oblique injury. He's 25. 1-2 pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Arizona's been in the strikeout window here recently. There's Peralta sitting next to Taylor Youngman. I saw Willie taking batting practice in the cage with the starting pitcher, so you know he's ready to get back out there.
Only had 1 at bat down in minor league rehab. No hit. Had a big smile on his face when he was asked.
That was in Biloxi. So Willie, did you go down there and rake? He goes, no, just 1 at bat.
Not sure when he's going to pitch.
That ball's hammered deep center field. Gomez at the track makes a catch just shy of it. Boy, hit it hard, but he got under it. And Owings is retired.
Hey, the Brewers and Cubs face off in a Friday night showdown at Miller Park. That's July 31st at 7 o'clock, and all fans in attendance will get this free Brewers t-shirt. That's courtesy of Experience Fitness. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com for tickets.
There's a few fans down there that need some t-shirts.
Free t-shirt Fridays at Miller Park.
Yet another reason to come to Miller Park. Nice long homestand coming up. Cubs, Padres for 4, Cardinals for 3.
A lot of home games in August.
Finally.
Settle in.
Your perfect pre-back to school entertainment, Miller Park. Get it in while the getting's good. Who knows what the Padres are going to look like when they arrive in Milwaukee next week? Who knows what the Brewers are going to look like
right
next
week?
week?
I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams you wonder, right? Padres were expected to do a lot better than they have this year. They made a lot of deals, spent some money. Hitters, pitchers. Didn't work out, did it?
They've got some people on the block right now, including Justin Upton. That could be a game-changing bat for a contending team. 1-2 pitch is lofted in the air. Long run for Gomez. Davis is out there as well, and Carlos will fetch it for out number 2. Both outs to Gomez. One deep, one shallow.
That's what we're talking about. You know, Carlos Gomez will put on the afterburners when he needed it. Then he needed it that time and would make the catch easily.
Two up, two down for Nelson. Here is Nick Ahmed. Uniforms all dirty. He made a great diving stop on a Ryan Braun ground ball. That was in the first inning. Took a hit away from Braun. Nelson did not throw a first pitch strike to the first 4 hitters. He is 11 for 12 since. And it's got him a little dialed in here.
First time on the Arizona mound. Second start against the Diamondbacks. Had a no decision back at Miller Park. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get used to that mound. Of course, first inning issues have been troubling him this year. We talked about that already.
In the air to right. Braun going back. And he's got it. 3 up, 3 down. All fly ball outs. Jimmy Nelson with a quick 4th inning. We go to the 5th. Still scoreless.
In the top of the 5th inning, time to check in with the crew in the community. The Milwaukee Brewers Community Involvement Initiative, known as the Community Achievers Award, will recognize residents throughout the state of Wisconsin each month during the season for displaying extraordinary efforts in their community. All adults and school-aged children throughout the state of Wisconsin are eligible to participate in the Community Achievers Program. As we have a pitcher's duel here, Jimmy Nelson, scoreless. 4 innings of work so far, and Craig Counsell addressed why he decided to bring up a reliever when Aramis Ramirez was traded yesterday. He said that with the Brewers having 20 consecutive games with no off days, he wanted to get out ahead of it as opposed to scrambling if something were to happen in terms of extra inning games and so on and so forth. So that's why David Goforth was called up and not an extra infielder or position player, guys.
All right, Telly, thanks. Yeah, the Brewers' next off day is August 10th. That is after the St. Louis series. So you got this entire road trip and then the entire homestand, which is 11 games. 4 against the Cubs, 4 against the Padres, and then 3 with St. Louis.
I'd much rather be short position players than pitchers, particularly guys down in that bullpen. You never know, one bad start and it could all turn on you. But so far the Brewers starting rotation has done a pretty good job eating up innings and keeping the bullpen fresh.
Gomez strikes out, and Hernandez will secure it at first. Hector is 0 for 2 in his first start in a while.
Brewers have not been able to figure out that slider from Patrick Corbin. It's a good one. He hasn't hung one yet. Every one of them has been, down near the dirt. And probably not many of them have been for strikes. I mean, cold strikes, but he's getting swings.
5 strikeouts for Corbin. Now Jimmy Nelson with one away. Jimmy's seen 5 pitches. They have all been strikes in his 2 at-bats. Corbin struck him out on 3 pitches in the 3rd inning. He has first pitch strikes to all but 3 hitters first 2 times through. That's his first ball to Jimmy Nelson.
Say it again.
Corbin has thrown just 1 ball to Jimmy Nelson tonight of the 6 pitches that Jimmy has seen. Just 1.
And it's about the time now he's going to throw that slider. And that slider down in the dirt, back foot to the right-handed hitter. It's when he uses it with 2 strikes, and he's been getting a lot of swings tonight.
It's about the time Jimmy's going to dump one into right field for a base hit. Or not. A strikeout. Number 6 for Corbin. As promised earlier in the game, we have now selected, after a very strenuous vetting process, the Data Strong fan photo of the game. And let's see, that's a Murdoch White, and he's got the guns out.
He's got a game on in the background right over the fireplace. Nice.
Oh, I see. He's got the T-Mobile graphic there, and he's pointing at it.
Right.
What was in the other hand? A big sandwich, or what was that? I was kind of scared to ask.
I don't know. Yeah. Just let it go.
It was just a big sandwich. Or it was a hornet's nest. One of the two. Don't forget to use that hashtag #WishDataStrongFan if you want to play along with us. Any fantasy camp news lately coming out of Brewers fan camp on Twitter?
We're putting together some, the coaches list. I added Mike Caldwell the other day.
Oh, very nice.
Lefty.
Addition. Yes.
Brewers fantasy camp. Go to the Brewers website /fantasy camp.
Only thing about having pitchers as coaches, the second game in the doubleheader of fantasy camp every day the first game I should say is the coach pitch game, and your own manager pitches. So Mike Caldwell, it's in his DNA not to give up hits. So
good sink. He's got good sink.
It's like when Jerry Augustine was my coach, my manager. We couldn't touch him. He's throwing those natural cutters.
Yeah. We used to hate taking batting practice off Augie.
Back when pitchers used to throw BP, right?
Well, no, this is when he was retired.
Oh, I see.
He came back, and I was playing. He'd throw his batting practice. Nothing like feeling bad, knowing you can't even hit in the batting cage or going into a game.
Yeah, batting practice is supposed to build you up,
right?
And
lefties just can't throw the ball straight.
And he's just funky as it is. Everything's still that way. Happy birthday to Jerry Augustine, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
He survived another year. Inside, and it hit him. And Segura will reach. He was hit by a 2-2 pitch. I don't know if Hernandez buys that Segura was hit by that pitch, but he's on his way.
Yeah, let that one get away from him. Man, look, at might have got his jersey.
Usually umpires are going on the sound. They're using their ears more than their eyes on a play like that. That is reviewable, by the way.
And Chip Hale's looking back into the dugout. And there you see Diamondbacks checking it out. I don't think there's anything there. Gonna be able to tell or not? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to overturn, let's put it that way.
Right.
All right, so Segura reaches with 2 away and got some speed on the bags now. And we saw yesterday how fast this outfield is, how fast the track. It's a very short grass, mowed tightly, and it's hard. And line drives can jump through those gaps.
Yeah, we saw it last night. Ball roll all the way to the wall. You hit it hard enough, like Coors Field.
Ryan Braun was saying he's never seen anything like it as far as natural grass surface speed when it hits the ground. He goes, I told him, is it like AstroTurf? He goes, it's worse. It's like a parking lot, really, because it's so firm.
Well, the sun beats on it all day. They open the roof all day to get some sun on the grass, and it is just cooking. Well into the hundreds. They close it up, what, about 3:30?
Yep.
Cooler off and very pleasant in here.
Gotta have it. They wouldn't draw anyone if this was an open air venue. Just couldn't do it. Lucroy's hot tonight. 2 hits off Corbin. 2 for 2, couple of singles, and both to right field. Scoreless game in the 5th. Diamondbacks have had 2 big opportunities in the 1st and in the 3rd, and Nelson was able to get through each occasion. Brewers really haven't had much going on. They've only had 1 runner reach second base. That was Hernan Perez, who doubled with 2 outs in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, 2 nights in a row, not a whole lot going on offensively. Came into this series swinging the bats well.
Two and 0 to Lucroy.
Yeah, see what Corbin's trying to do, trying to bust him inside, because both times he's gone away from Luke, he's hit it into right field. Can't find that inside corner.
Lucroy now with 3 hits in the series. He is 3 for 6. Had 5 hits on the homestand, including a home run against the Pirates. Two and 0. Lucroy into center field. Pollock will run it down for the out. Boy, he hit it right on the button. But Pollock was there to end the inning. Brewers strand a runner at first. Going here with Corbin and Nelson. Carsub.com trivia tonight. Which Diamondbacks player hit his lone home run versus the Brewers September 19th? Ah,
I remember now.
Now it makes sense.
The big unit.
Randy Johnson.
Bobblehead weekend for the big unit, right?
It's a Hall of Fame induction weekend for Randy Johnson, and those are the 4 headed to the Hall of Fame. How about that pitching representation there with Randy Johnson and Pedro and John Smoltz, and then of course the great Astro, Craig Biggio. They're going to have a ceremony retiring Randy Johnson's number here at Chase Field, August 8th, as Rock mentioned. And they've got it covered up.
Well, they got a bobblehead of Randy Johnson tomorrow, and then the Hall of Fame ceremony here at the ballpark on August 8th.
I was watching a feature that Fox Sports Arizona did. It was really well done on Randy Johnson. And he was talking about, you know, the decision to go into the Hall of Fame as a Diamondback. And even though he felt like Seattle was the place he learned to pitch, he became a real pitcher and became a future Hall of Fame pitcher. Remember in Montreal where he started his career, he was very wild and he threw hard but was all over the place, and his career was actually in jeopardy with the Expos. Most didn't feel like he was going to be able to corral all of that at his height, and a lot to unravel mechanically, but he loved Seattle, loved playing there, had great teammates, but he said Arizona, that was my window of dominance.
Yeah.
And as an Arizona Diamondback, the numbers bear it out, and basically based on those numbers, that's why he's going in as an Arizona Diamondback. So represented.
He was one of the most intimidating guys I'd ever faced. Randy Johnson. Almost like he was handing the ball to the catcher. That's how close he's seen when he got rid of the baseball.
He'll be the first player in the Hall of Fame with the Arizona Diamondback logo. Well, he and Kurt Schilling, how good were they in 01?
Yeah.
Looked at that championship. Bob Brindley was the manager that year. Counsell was a key player. But those two pitchers are the reason the Diamondbacks won the World Series and overcame the dominant Yankees. Brindley's always smiling.
Oh, yeah. He's been at it a long time.
Hernandez draws a walk up and in, almost hit him. And a base runner to start it.
All the great things Randy Johnson did. A lot of people remember him for remember he threw that pitch and a bird was flying in between the mound and home plate. Bird didn't have a chance.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate set of circumstances.
Yep, that's not him.
Well, this bird's very comfortable here. Look at his beady eyes. It says Randy Johnson's not here anymore. I'm safe. Corbin showing bunt. Takes it for a ball.
Waiting for everybody to clear out. Maybe get a free meal. Not Randy Johnson. The bird.
The pigeon.
Yeah, the bird.
Is that a stool pigeon, Rock? I'm looking forward to hearing all of the Hall of Fame speeches. I always find that fascinating.
Who do you think's going to be the best?
I think the irony of Randy Johnson's speech is going to be great. I think John Smoltz is going to deliver.
Right.
I've heard John speak.
But Randy was
publicly.
a man of few words when he played.
He says he's more nervous about this speech than any start he ever made in his life.
Right, I would imagine, yeah.
Bunted foul. One thing I would like to see happen is split the season in half, right down the middle, take the All-Star break, make it a week or 5 days, and put the Hall of Fame ceremony in the middle of that week. So, because, we always work during the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Right,
We
yeah.
have baseball people are watching games. It's hard to dial in. Now, they'll get a great crowd in Cooperstown, and just wait for all the contingent from the Dominicana there for Pedro Martinez. That is going to be some party in sleepy little Cooperstown.
That's a good idea. I've always wondered what a World Series in December would look like.
Nah, you don't have to do that. Why can't you move the Hall of Fame ceremony?
A week long.
Ground ball, got a chance here. It goes 4-6-3 in a double play. So Corbin unable to get the bunt down. Nelson gets him to ground into 2. Second double play of the night for the Brewers.
Taylor made good play by Gomez, and that's about as easy as it gets. The Brewers have turned a lot of double plays lately. And Jimmy with a good pitch. Keeping that baseball down. Good movement on that 2-seamer.
He's had a lot of ground balls tonight. It was interesting that in the 4th inning, all 3 outs were fly ball outs. But a key ground ball here.
It would be nice, though, to have that Hall of Fame ceremony during the All-Star break.
Yeah,
you're right.
Make it part of the.
It doesn't have to be a week long.
Make it big. Well, I'm thinking the full work week, 5 days. You can buy another day out of that. Fly ball to left to end the inning.
Let's work on it.
All right, we'll drum up the schedule and submit it to Commissioner Manfred. Dear Commissioner. Inning of this scoreless game in Arizona. And Ryan Braun last night, 9th inning, first pitch breaking ball, Powerball home run number 17, and a 3-run blast for Braun. That the only thing that kept the Brewers from being shut out last night. 17 homers for Ryan, gives him 60 runs batted in.
Ryan Braun, one of those guys that have rave reviews with Godley in last night's ball game. Breaking ball from Leon that he hit out of the ballpark, and Godley threw a bunch up that he missed. Our Powerball home run count. Ryan Braun, Adam Lynn right behind him.
Braun is tied for 8th in the league in homers, 7th in runs batted in. He's got 60. Goldschmidt leads the league with 73. And Bryce Harper and Giancarlo Stanton are tied for the league lead in homers, if you're wondering. 27. Stanton's on the DL.
That's one of the big shames this year that Stanton got hit and he's out. I'm telling how many home runs that guy would have hit this year.
Braun making a bid at 1. Deep to right field. Going back, looking up, and goodbye. Home run, Ryan Braun. And an opposite field shot for his 18th of the season. 2nd in as many games. And the first run of the game. 1-0 Brewers here in the 6th.
Corbin trying to work him away, and that's the wheelhouse for Ryan Braun. He likes it out there. Get those arms extended. There it is, leaked over the heart of the plate, and Ryan Braun, as soon as he hit it, he knew it was gone. Ball carries very well here in Chase Field. Number 18 on cue.
Had that sound. Now Gomez, that is foul, almost wiped out the crew chief over there, Brian O'Nora.
Not sure how he saw it, actually.
He was waiting for the pain.
Jumping out of the way, looked down, and called it foul.
Well, how about Braun? 18 homers, 61 runs batted in.
And Jerry Narron on the phone, but I'm not sure if it's reviewable or not. I mean, the ball, if it bounces past the umpire down there, it's reviewable. That was kind of in the gray area. I think it landed right at him.
And Gomez strikes out. Second time he's punched out against Corbin. No, Nora still has his heart fluttering, I'm sure. Yeah, if the call's in front of the umpires, then it is not reviewable. If it's in the outfield, for example, if there was a fair foul or a trap situation, you can take a look at those.
It's behind the umpire, you can look at it. That was right between his legs.
Threw him. He pulled a matrix right there, Brian O'Nora. He's a good umpire. He was a World Series umpire last year. Umpires get elevated into the playoffs and continue on based on their merits. Lind with the shift is out number 2.
It just used to be a rotation where merit didn't apply anybody. They all got a chance to go postseason and all-star games, and not the case anymore. And that's the way it should be. I mean, the best teams, the best players are in the postseason. It should be officiated by the best umpires.
Part of that grading system they have behind the plate and the work they've done all year. That's Joe Torre who makes those calls and gives them the good news that they're going to advance into the playoffs or into the World Series. Umpires do not know when the playoffs begin when it's going to stop for them, so they don't make that determination before the playoffs. Round by round, division series to championship series to World Series. Ten straight strikes for Patrick Corbin after the Braun homer, which is also a strike.
And 5th home run he's allowed this year in only 4 starts.
0-2 pitch. Davis strikes out. Took something off. And Patrick Corbin through 6 innings has 8 strikeouts, but 1 big swing of the bat. Ryan Braun. It had that sound. Solo home run to put the Brewers on the board. Of the season, his 18th home run of the season, I should say, gives the Brewers a 1-0 lead. Well, the 3rd inning, take a look at our Columbia St. Mary's worth another look. Bases loaded, 1 out, and a 1-2-3 double play. That was huge for Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, LUCROY making sure, watch the way he looks down to make sure he's got the plate, clears the plate so that he doesn't get taken out by the runner trying to score in turn 2. Brewers now with 97 double plays. That's third best in the National League.
And then the home run by Braun. Now Nelson pitching with a lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th. A.J. Pollock will start it. Goldschmidt to follow, and then Peralta. Pollock is 1 for 2 tonight. He singled and stole a base in the 3rd. Segura. Here's out number 1.
Hey, a reminder that today is No Fee Friday. For today only, if you purchase tickets to any remaining Brewers home game on the 2015 schedule, the Brewers will cover the cost of the ticket transaction fees. To get your no fee tickets, visit Brewers.com before midnight tonight.
So you got a little over an hour and a half to take advantage of the No Fee Friday. Big matchup. Nelson against Goldschmidt, 3rd time. First 2 trips to the plate resulting in walks. Walked on a 3-2 pitch in the 1st and then was intentionally walked in the 3rd. Oh, good looking slider in there for a strike. A hard one too, 88 miles an hour.
It's been the slider over the curveball last few starts for Jimmy. Got the feel for that slider back. He lost it last year.
0-2. Nelson, fastball high. The league's leading hitter, Paul Goldschmidt, at 344. Nelson's got him in a hole, 1-2. See what he goes with here.
I was talking to Jimmy after his last start, talking about that slider. It said that the fact that he had such good success with the curveball kind of took the pressure off the fact that he wasn't really throwing that slider very well. He kind of forgot about it, left it alone, and all of a sudden it came back. He started throwing it because he wasn't grinding over it and trying too hard to throw a good one. Well, it's back now.
And a fastball got in on him. Hector Gomez to retire Goldschmidt. Good sequence there by Jimmy Nelson against a dangerous hitter. Had a couple of good breaking balls to start him in the count, and he gets him on a fastball. Good pitching.
Yeah. That sliders away and fastball up and in. You can even get great hitters when you pitch like that, when you locate.
There's David Peralta. That double play we showed you in the 3rd inning in our Worth Another Look, it was Peralta who put the ball in play in that inning. And it was interesting because Arizona had runners at 1st and 2nd with 1 out, but a double steal. Inciarte and Pollock, and that open first base. Counsell intentionally walked Goldschmidt, then got the double play. Into right, a base hit. 2-out single. David Peralta with his first hit of the night.
And Jimmy left that slider up. One of the few mistakes he's made with that pitch. Kind of a spinner up there that Peralta was able to handle up in his zone.
Which will bring Chris Owings to the plate. '23-year-old Chris Owings. They got a lot of young guys here. Goldschmidt, kind of the veteran guy at 27 years of age. Owings, mostly a second baseman, has gotten occasional starts at shortstop this season. He's a good defender. He's got a long errorless streak going. At 59 games, he gives you a lot of defense. No doubt big league ready defensively. Diamondbacks think he's going to hit. He's got a low batting average going this year. He's hitting the minor leagues though. Had a shoulder injury last year that cost him 2 months. Ooh, a strike, a late call.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the strike zone. And he probably thought that was low. But he's no Paul Goldschmidt. He's going to get rung up once in a while.
Yeah, Jimmy's had good enough command. He's starting to earn some of those strikes. Nelson had 4 Ks in the first 2 innings. Has not had one since. Runner at first, 2 outs. Brewers lead 1-0 on a Braun homer. And down he goes. There's his first K since the second. His 5th of the game in a shutdown inning after Braun went deep in the top of the 6th. Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. A lot of Brewers fans here in Phoenix, Arizona, wearing their Brewers colors proudly. That's an old school helmet. That's like from the Hank Aaron era of Milwaukee Brewers baseball. Hernan Perez will lead off his night at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Had a double his first time up. He just continues to hit. He's been a nice little story for the Brewers. So much so that they traded Aramis Ramirez, and Perez is going to get the chance to prove he belongs there every day. To right, routine for INCIARTE. And there's out number 1. Perez 1 for 3.
And again, based on where the Brewers are right now, I mean, currently 12 games under 500, and Ramirez is going to be retiring at the end of the season. I would imagine that at some point they were going to give Perez playing time regardless. Probably sometime after the All-Star break, you would think anyway. See what he can do.
Yeah, you try to get some answers leading up to next year, maybe build some confidence.
He's got all the skills at third base. I mean, Craig Counsell feels as though his best position is third. Got plenty of arm to play over there. Good hands. Seems like the errors he's made, except for last night, errors he's made have been when he's come in for defense late in the game. When he starts, he's usually error-free.
Yeah, focus errors.
Yeah.
Hector Gomez, swing and a miss. Chase to fastball. Corbin's had Hector's number tonight. He's been throwing him a lot of breaking stuff. Got a fastball by him that time. 6 of his 8 strikeouts for Corbin have come with the slider. And he got Gomez on that pitch in the 5th. The 1-2. There's another one.
There's a hanger. That was the best one that the Brewers had to hit tonight. Down the middle, up in the zone, and you can see the reaction from Gomez. He knew he missed a good pitch to hit. Next one's going to be down in the dirt like the rest of them have been.
That's what he wants. And good call. Gomez chases. Hernandez secures at first. Strikeout number 9. Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, most of them coming on that pitch right there. That slider in the dirt. He's only going to throw you strikes if you show him that you're going to make him throw strikes. Fastball's up out of the zone. Sliders down. It's all about getting that first pitch strike. It'll give you something to hit early in the count to get ahead and then make you chase.
Jimmy Nelson up there hacking. (22 of 27 first pitch strikes for Corbin. To your point. Pitch count at 87, the most he's thrown since coming back in his 3 previous starts, 86, and that was in his last start when he matched up against Madison Bumgarner of the Giants. Second Tommy John surgery last March, so long road back for him, and Arizona being cautious with it, but he's pitching well and he's throwing hard. They say coming back from Tommy John surgery, the first year back is unpredictable. You just don't know how the elbow is going to react. Usually the second year is the big year, so they're trying to set him up for next season. 10 punch outs tonight, 7 innings, 1 run allowed, but he's trailing in this game. AT&T U-Verse shutout innings for Jimmy Nelson. He's walking the tightrope in a couple of those innings and was able to get through the messes. Stranded 2 in the first, had bases loaded, 1 out, got out of it in the 3rd, and then the lone tally, Ryan Braun goes deep to start the 6th. Home run number 18. And Braun and the Brewers behind the right arm of Jimmy Nelson, leading 1-0 as we go to the home 7th.
Jimmy able to get himself out of a jam in the first inning. A couple of men on second and third and one out, and able to get out with a couple of strikeouts, and then that big double play in the third.
Jeremy Jeffress loosening in the Brewers bullpen. I'm sure Counsell would love to get Nelson through 7 here. Jimmy's pitch count is at 90. He was pushing 30 in the first inning. He struggled to get through that first. Gave up a double and a walk, but he struck out the side in that inning. 31 pitches in the first inning for Nelson. He has not thrown more than 14 in an inning since, and had a 7-pitch second inning, which really helped him get going in the start tonight. So here is Jake Lamb leading off.
And getting first pitch strikes has helped him. Get the Diamondback hitters on the defensive. And 7-pitch second inning helped him to get things back to normal.
Here's the 0-1. Lamb, a little half swing, and they'll ask if he went. Yes, he did. 0-2 the count on Lamb. Lamb's just 24. Another one of the young D-backs. Rookie. He's in the top 10 among National League rookies in batting average. Hitting .270 coming in. .02. Hung one, got away with it.
Yeah, hung the last two. Good thing, a lucky thing for Nelson, though. The first one was in. The second one he just threw was away, so it really wasn't down the middle of the plate.
On the ground, right to Lynn. Got him with a breaking ball, and out number 1 for Jimmy Nelson. First out of the 7th inning. Well, tonight, don't miss Fox Sports Live as they bring you news and highlights from around the MLB, plus the latest from the entire world of sports. Fox Sports Live is tonight only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. A lot of ball games already in the books tonight. We're out here on the West Coast, not really West Coast, but Pacific time zone. And it's fun to check all these East Coast games while we get to the ballpark, get to watch a little baseball, and then they all go final. How about the Astros, man? This club continues to impress.
Yeah.
They shut out the Royals today, 4-0. Scott Kazmir in his first start as an Astro. There's a little broken bat, soft liner for out number 2 as Ahmed is out.
Yeah, they're for real. I think everybody was expecting the Astros to fold at some point, but they have not. They just continue to play good baseball. They're now even, or I should say, they're a game behind the Angels right now coming into play. What are the Angels doing? They're losing.
Now the Angels are down 3-1 to the Rangers at home tonight. 6th inning in Anaheim. Scott Kazmir went 7 shutout innings in his Astros debut.
Yeah.
3 hits. He's from Houston. That move right there for the Astros, that's the symbol that they are done rebuilding. They have arrived.
Well, again, that's a nice message to send to your club. I mean, the players have been busting it all season long. Then the front office takes over and gets the pitching that they need, saying, we're behind you, go get them. Been a good story.
2 outs for Nelson facing Hernandez. That slider starting to get loose.
Yeah.
On Jimmy Nelson.
Starting to hang a few, sign of fatigue. Twins picked up a game on the Royals tonight. They beat the Yankees 10-1.
Yeah, Twins. They got a win from Phil Hughes. How good did that feel for him, the former Yankee? Ground ball through, base hit. And there is the tying run at first base on the 100th pitch by Nelson.
He's starting to hang that slider. You wonder if Craig Counsell is going to go get him. And maybe give him one more. You got Jeremy Jeffress out in that bullpen. He's shaking. He's kind of wondering what he should do here. And you just hope that things work out. You got a flamethrower out in that bullpen ready to go.
It's so interesting watching Craig Counsell. It's almost automatic when he has a tough decision. He scratches his head.
Yeah.
He takes his hat off and he scratches his head.
It's a head scratcher.
It really is. He does have a nice head of hair to scratch. We'll see about after his long managerial tenure how much hair's left. Here's Aaron Hill pinch hitting.
It'll be probably looking like Rick Kranitz in a couple of years.
This is a big spot for Nelson. You got the top of the order coming up next. He knows this is going to be his last hitter. There's a good breaking ball. Hill didn't bite on it, but a better spot for Nelson. Curveball. 1-0 Brew Crew on a Ryan Braun solo homer to start the 6th inning. Corbin is out. Hill pinch hitting for him. Slow rollers. Segura is right there to Gomez for the out. And big Jimmy Nelson, 7 strong. His night most likely over. 7 shutout in Arizona. High fives and high knuckles all around. Jimmy Nelson. 7 shutout innings. Counsell let it ride with the tying run on. And Jimmy impressive tonight. He leads 1-0. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Taylor Youngman, another of the young hurlers, on the mound tomorrow. Ruby De La Rosa will pitch for Arizona. 6:30 is airtime. Matt LePay and The Rock will have it for you. Telly Hughes as well.
Where you heading, pal?
Heading to New York, the Big Apple, right next door to Phoenix.
Yeah, and then back to San Francisco.
Back to San Francisco.
Oh,
no problem.
Well, Daniel Hudson on here in the 8th inning, talking about Tommy John. He came back in 2014, returned from his 2nd Tommy John surgery. 36 game tonight, a 332 earned run average. Last pitch against the Giants on the 19th through a scoreless inning. Used 14 pitches to do it.
So 2 Diamondbacks pitchers totaling 4 Tommy John surgeries. Performance enhancing at its best.
Right. And he's still throwing pretty hard. I mean, he can get it up there to 96, 97 with a pretty good slider.
Hudson will face the top of the Brewers order. They are certainly eager to get some runs on the board. They lead 1-0. Diamondbacks have out hit the Brewers 5-4. Segura in the leadoff spot tonight. He is 0 for 2. Was hit by a pitch. Hit by a 2-strike pitch his last time up. And it just barely grazed his jersey. He'll take that.
Yeah. The Brewers probably tickled to death that Corbin's out of the game. Well, he was tough tonight.
Corbin struck out 10. That ties a career high. The 4th occasion he has had 10 strikeouts in a game, and it's interesting. That is twice now he struck out 10 against the Brewers. Ball and a strike on Segura. One and two it goes.
And change up that time from Daniel Hudson. He's got that to go along with the slider and the big fastball. Diamondbacks have pitched well in this series so far. For a team that's had a difficult time getting outs this year, they certainly have cooled off a pretty good hitting ball club in the Brewers.
In the dirt. That'll send it to 2-2. Diamondbacks are hopeful that Hudson gets back to form as well. He and Corbin are big parts of their future, they hope. Hudson was great in the year the Diamondbacks won the division in 2011 and met the Brewers in the LDS. He was a 16-game winner that year. Strike called. Hudson hits the edge. 96 with the fastball.
Yeah, right down the heart of the plate and down at the knees, right at the bottom half of the strike zone. They join the crew for Koozie Night at Miller Park on Friday, August 7th at 7 o'clock. This special package includes a ticket to see the Brewers take on the Cardinals, plus a one-of-a-kind Bernie Chalet can koozie. All for just $13. For details, go to brewers.com/special events.
We might have to do a game from Bernie Chalet.
Well, I don't know.
It'd be like doing a game in Washington, D.C.
But not quite as high. I'll do it as long as I don't have to go down the slide.
That hat, that homemade keg hat, is perfect for that promo you just read. Bernie Chalet hat.
He's had a good time at the ballpark. We've had him on a couple of times, and he's standing up, pointing, smiling, having a good time.
Crushing Miller beers.
I hope he's not taunting the crowd here with the Diamondbacks. It's only a 1-0 lead.
Two and 0 to LUCROY, and that one's in there for a strike. He's got the hat off so he doesn't block the view. The hat only goes on between innings.
His son told him to sit out, I think. They're having a little bit of a scuffle.
Got a Packers wristband on. Attaboy. Passion. He's hoping for a hit right here. 2-1 to LUCROY, and a bouncer foul. I think the keg hat is a little tight these days. Maybe after all the Miller Lights, he's got a little bit of a headache going. Starting to tighten up on him.
I know how he feels.
Is it true your head grows as you get older, Rock?
There's no chance.
I'm just curious. I know your ears grow. Ground ball up the middle. LUCROY with a 3-hit night.
Your ears grow?
3 for 4 is Jonathan LUCROY.
I don't get it.
It's true, your ears grow. There you go, hat's back on. He could see it coming.
He was told, stand up, put the keg back on.
Oh, that's a sweet flip phone he's got going. That's old school, man. A day in the life.
They're telling him to sit down.
They were yelling at him to sit down. Hey, buddy, down in front. LUCROY with his 5th 3-hit game. He's aboard for BRAUN. And a strike to Ryan. Now he's getting the news from home.
He's saying, I told you if I wore this hat, they'd have me on. We're easy.
It doesn't take much to amuse us, put it that way. But you got to have a little creativity.
Right.
See if BRAUN can keep it going here. One away, runner at first. Home run by BRAUN in the 6th. The only run of the game. LUCROY has 3 of the 5 Brewer hits. BRAUN the homer, Perez doubled. That's been it. Hudson deals and a jam shot foul.
He rushes it up there, doesn't he? 96, 97. You know, on Ryan's hands that time.
Hudson came to the Diamondbacks from the White Sox. That was a deal for Edwin Jackson back in 2010. He had a great first impression, and then part of that division-winning team as a starter. He was one of their best. Has not been the same since after the 2 surgeries. Got him, boy. Took something off, and BRAUN was way out in front of it. Second out, 2 Ks in the inning.
And changeup after a couple of big fastballs that were in on his hands. And BRAUN trying to start that bat a little bit sooner than he should have, and out in front of a changeup. That's good pitching.
So it is Gomez now at 2 away. Top of the order coming up for the Diamondbacks in the bottom of the 8th, and that means Goldschmidt hits 3rd. And that's the big hurdle to get over. Jeremy Jeffress will have the 8th. We'll have INCIARTE, Pollock, and Goldschmidt. Gomez trying to give the Brewers some breathing room here. He's 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of Ks. He did line out in the 4th inning. Hit it sharply into the gap in right center. Was run down by INCIARTE. 0-2 now. Got LUCROY at first. 2 outs in the 8th. The 0-2 is in the dirt. Nice pickup back there.
Pretty good off-speed pitch, doesn't he? I mean, slider and change-up. He's thrown a bunch of change-ups in this inning.
Patrick Corbin started, went 7, 1 run, 10 Ks. Hudson a chance to strike out the side, and Gomez doesn't bite. 2-2 the count. Diamondbacks won last night. They've won 3 out of 4 from the Brewers. Won 8-3 last night. 2-2 inside. As they set up, pitches outside, almost to the screen. Now it goes full 3-2.
That's good. Now LUCROY gets a head start. 3-2, 2 outs. Outfield will back up for the Diamondbacks just a little bit.
Line drives just jumping through the grass with some heat on him. Big gap in left center for Gomez. If he can get one to the wall, LUCROY would have a chance to score. Full count, 2 outs. LUCROY will be on the move. There he goes, and Gomez takes ball 4. First and second now with Adam Lind coming up. And let's see if the Diamondbacks go to their left-hander. Yep, Chip Hale's on his way out, and he makes a quick call to the bullpen. So the manager will play matchup with the left-hander Lind coming to bat. Hudson with a single and a walk and a couple of Ks. 2 outs in the 8th. Brewers lead 1-0. Trying to put up a 2-out threat here. Rally kegs are on. Take a break. A 1-0 game, and Oliver Perez is on to pitch.
44th appearance for Perez and a 346 earned run average. One of 2 left-handers down in that bullpen. We saw Andrew Chafin in last night's ball game. And Perez, the veteran, he's done a pretty good job against left-handed hitters this year. A 196 batting average as opposed to right-handers hitting him at a 283 clip. He'll be facing the only left-hander in the Brewers lineup tonight, Adam Lind.
So a big spot. The Brewers can add to their lead. They've got Jeffress in the bullpen ready to pitch the 8th inning. Remember, the Diamondbacks have the top of their order coming up. INCIARTE, Pollock, and Goldschmidt. Oliver Perez. Been around a long time. Former starting pitcher with the Mets. Has reinvented himself as a reliever.
And only 8 of 33 inherited base runners have scored on Perez this year, and has been tough in these situations coming in with men in scoring position.
Tell you what, Perez is in no rush to get this going. He took forever just to throw a warm-up pitch, and now he's icing the hitter, perhaps.
He's always been into the theatrics of the game out there on the mound. That's one of the problems that he's had throughout his career.
First pitch is a fastball in there for a strike.
He has tremendous stuff when he bears down and just concentrates on throwing strikes. Gives you a lot of different looks, different arm angles. Turn the back once in a while, and he's a showman out there for sure.
Second year with the Diamondbacks. Had a great year last year pitching out of the bullpen. Lynn right off the end of the bat. Coming in third base is Lamb, and he makes a play to win the inning. So Perez comes on, does the job. Brewers strand 2. Now the top of the order, including Goldschmidt, coming up. Nothing Brew Crew. On the top of the order coming up. Let's look at Jimmy Nelson's night. Our shining moment brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. Rock. He put on a clinic, and it's one of those starts. You start to think about Nelson as a front-line starter after what he does here against the Diamondbacks tonight.
Well, he's having a terrific month of July. 2-1 already, a 284 ERA before tonight, where he threw 7 scoreless, so you got in trouble only a couple of innings, and his slider was terrific. Able to get a couple of big double play balls to get himself out of a couple of jams tonight. Well done.
Now Jeremy Jeffress, hard throwing right-hander on the mound, 45th appearance of the season.
And pitched on Sunday against the Pirates at Miller Park. Remember, he came in late in the ball game, man at second, 1 out, and struck out both batters that he faced. That was in an 8th inning. In a Brewers victory. 45 appearances and just about as many strikeouts as innings pitched, and only 13 walks. Check that, 15 walks.
Ender Inciarte will lead it off. The Diamondbacks leadoff man, who is 2 out of 3 tonight. Both of his hits against Jimmy Nelson, had a double and a single. And there is a strike. Inciarte's stolen base in the 3rd inning might come under scrutiny. Normally you don't scrutinize his success, but his stolen base opened up a base with Goldschmidt at the plate. Counsell promptly intentionally walked Goldschmidt, and then A 1-2-3 double play off the bat of Peralta. That was the game-changing moment for Nelson.
Yeah, just can't give teams the opportunity to pitch around Paul Goldschmidt. That's the idea. You're just helping him out.
1-1 pitch, way inside, almost hit him. Boy, how did INCIARTE avoid that one? Looked like a little merengue beat right there.
And
wow.
just did miss the leg.
Hard hit ball, that's through, a base hit. And INCIARTE starts the inning with a single. Got Goodwood on that one. His third hit of the night.
And just out of the reach of Adam Lind. Doesn't have the greatest range in the world, but if he can get to it, he'll normally make the play, but that was just out of his reach.
Well, now you got a good hitter coming up, an all-star, and A.J. Pollock. Top 10 hitter in average in the National League this year. And he's 1 for 3 tonight, bumping his average up to 308. Tough guy to double up, too. He runs very well. He's got to hit one hard right at an infielder to turn 2. And Jeffress blew it right by him. 97 with a fastball.
And they got Hector Gomez way up the middle. They got a bit of a shift on from Pollock, and even with as hard as Jeremy Jeffress throws, they're expecting him to pull the ball. You can see where Gomez is playing way up the middle. A lot of room between first and second.
Hard hit ground ball. Segura to Gomez, who fires to first in time. The perfect ground ball. 6-4-3 double play, and Pollock with one swing of the bat, 2 outs.
Yep, third double play turned by the Brewers tonight. And that is routine as it gets. The Brewers have now turned 98 double plays, good for third in the league. I'll tell you, that snuck up on you. You know, the Brewers didn't turn many double plays in the beginning part of the season. We're getting a lot of ground ball outs for that matter. And now third in the league.
Now the arrival of Taylor Youngman has really added to that statistic, who got 4 double plays in his last start. So Paul Goldschmidt here with 2 outs. First pitch called a ball. Fox Tracks had it in the strike zone. Ripped left field. Boy, just has that sound. Very few have that sound off the bat.
Yeah, he's something else, and it's a lot easier to hit when everything you don't swing at is called a ball, that's for sure. That first pitch by Jeffers clearly a strike, not called. Second time tonight, which Goldschmidt up to the plate hammers that one into left field.
So Counsell with a left-hander coming up. David Peralta is going to play matchup himself. Jeffress gives up 2 hits, but got a big double play in front of Goldschmidt. He will exit, and Will Smith, the lefty, coming in, will take a timeout. but batting with nobody on. He singles. That forces Jeffress out. David Peralta, the scheduled hitter. So Craig Counsell makes a move to the bullpen to bring in a lefty, and Chip Hale's going to counter with Yasmani Tomas, big right-handed power hitter,
who homered last night. Homered to right field. 46th appearance for Will Smith, and lefties are hitting him at a pretty good clip. Actually, right-handers having a much tougher time at a 139 batting average. Chip Hale playing the percentages, going with his power hitting right-hander against Will Smith.
Don't see many cleanup hitters get pinch hit for, but here comes Tomas, and this might be the reason why. In their throwback Thursday uniforms last night, Tomas, an opposite field smash. That is not a throwback to the early 2000s. They just had the retro unis on last night. So here he is, the rookie from Cuba, signed a 6-year deal with Arizona. Started in right field last night. Got to be careful with this guy. Goldschmidt on. He runs well. And Smith misses low. What we saw at Tomas last night and what we've seen from him this year is that he will chase, but he is a bad ball hitter.
You got to get ahead of him, though. That's what you got to do. Get ahead of him early and then get him to chase. So if you think Paul Goldschmidt is just a power hitter, he's not. He can steal. 17 stolen bases for Goldschmidt. He's been caught only 4 times.
He's got the all-around game going. Smith knows that. Imperative that he keeps Goldschmidt close at first. That's a tying run. Bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, 1-0 Crew. Tomas takes a strike. Didn't like it. Only Paul Goldschmidt has that called the ball. You're not quite there yet, Yasmani.
Keep him close, but don't worry too much about him. The guy at the plate is the one that can hurt you.
Tomas had 2 hits last night on balls. One was up and away, the home run, and the other was pulled into left field. It was down and in. Has the best batting average among National League rookies coming in here tonight. 303 hitter, 84 hits, and he's able to take 2-1. He's at 6 homers with 37 driven in. He's only played in 77 games. He was a bit of a delayed call up, even though he signed a major league contract.
Got it right by him at 92 miles an hour. Will Smith on the last homestand was rushing it up there mid-90s, hit a couple at 95 miles an hour. And let's see what he gives him here. He's got 3 different pitches that he's pretty confident in.
Two, 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th. Here it comes. And too high even for Tomas, who's been known to chase a few up there. Chris Owings is on deck. Full count. Goldschmidt takes off. Strike called. Will Smith rings the bell on Yasmani Tomas. And the inning is over. The Brewers maintain a 1-0 lead as Smith delivers the fastball right on the button.
coming.
Now this guy's enjoying his night. The Brewers are up 1-0 as we go to the 9th inning now. What a job by Will Smith striking out Tomas. Tomas stays in. That bumps in INCIARTE over to left field. And Tomas will continue in the right field. And the Diamondbacks have a new pitcher on the mound as well. Their closer, Brad Ziegler.
Yeah, 15 out of 17. He's converted 13 in a row. He's just trying to keep the Brewers off the board. And you don't often see your closer in a game down by a run, but apparently needs some work. And then he's in here in the 9th.
Parra, the former D-back, will lead off. It's pinch hitting for Chris Davis. It'll be Parra, Perez, Hector Gomez scheduled to hit. Might see some of the lefties for Craig Counsell. Will Smith was fired up on his way out. Jeffress started the inning, had a huge double play off the bat of A.J. Pollock. And after the Goldschmidt single, Smith comes in and strikes out Tomas. There's Parra with a base hit. Night after night after night since late April, Parra just keeps on hitting.
It doesn't matter whether he's starting or coming off the bench. Parra now 9 for 16 coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. Oh, that's incredible stuff.
Going to bump his .317 batting average up a little bit. By the way, he is now 5th in the league in hitting, tied with Buster Posey. Hernan Perez got a lead runner on. Brewers desperate for some insurance runs.
Probably up there to bunt. Craig Counsell has Scooter Gennett on deck.
Ziegler. That funky delivery. Slings it in. Perez, a bunt that hits the plate. That's foul. He would have preferred that it had stayed fair. It would have been a sacrifice, but fans think it's a pop-up for an out. It actually hit home plate.
Hernandez thought that was a fair ball. It can hit the plate, but the umpire's discretion, if it's in fair territory, it's going to be a fair ball.
I tell you, that was close.
It was.
Could have gone either way. Not reviewable. So it's 0-1. And there's a good bunt. Goldschmidt is only played at first. That'll be a sacrifice for Perez. And that advances Parra into scoring position. Big insurance run out there.
Might see the Brewers nearly empty their bench in this inning. Scooter Gennett coming up. You're probably going to have Peterson on deck in the pitcher spot, leaving Martin Maldonado, the only position player that hasn't been in the game.
All the lefties get to play this inning. Parra, now Gennett, Peterson next. One nothing Milwaukee. Ryan Braun hit a solo home run to start the 6th. His 18th homer of the year. Gennett on the ground, right to Owings for the 2nd out. Parra does advance to 3rd, and now 2 are gone. And here comes Shane Peterson looking for a big 2-out ribby. Peterson's been great off the bench. Craig Counsell has a lot of confidence in Shane Peterson. He is 6 for 14 as a pinch hitter. Has 3 runs batted in.
And has done a real good job using left field coming off the bench, and that's probably what he's going to have to do here with that big sinker from the side armor here.
Way inside, gets back to the screen, and Parra will score. A wild pitch, and the Brewers get the second run of the game.
Yeah, that's a huge run right there. Wow. Ziegler tried to come inside and fooled Hernandez. You can see where Hernandez is setting up. He's setting up away, and that ball not even close, almost hits Shane Peterson, and the Brewers have a 2-run lead. Our Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game, a wild pitch to score Gerardo Parra.
And that'll be an earned run on Ziegler. Boy, how about that? Base hit to start it. Sack, bunt, ground out, advancing Parra 2 bases. Then he scores on a wild pitch. Peterson trying to get it started at 2 outs. Those are the pinch hit numbers for him. 3 doubles among his 6 hits. No relief pitcher in Diamondbacks franchise history has made more appearances than Brad Ziegler now. He has the record.
And a guy that could probably throw just about every day with that arm angle. Much easier on the arm when you throw down there like that, as opposed to straight over the top. Relies on big movement, doesn't throw hard. A lot of ground ball outs.
And Peterson draws the walk. Another good at bat off the bench. He continues to impress. Ziegler in a non-save situation, having some trouble here. A hit and a walk. A run is in. Top of the order now, and Gene Segura. Big chopper. Owings to first, just in time to get him. Brewers steal a run from the Diamondbacks. Get one on a wild pitch. They lead 2-0, and it's time for KHRIS. Save situation coming up. Brewers trying to even the series in Arizona. Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Parra will stay in. He scored the second run. 2-0 now, Milwaukee. Scooter Gennett also stays in at second base. And the new pitcher is the Brewer closer, Francisco Rodriguez, trying to nail this one down.
Yep, 8th on the all-time saves list with 369. He picked up number 21 this year against the Pirates on Saturday. He pitched a perfect 9th inning. KHRIS 21 out of 21 with a 132 earned run average. Has the bottom half of the Diamondbacks order to deal with here in the 9th.
You made it through the top of the order, and Goldschmidt, who did single but was left stranded at first. Now it's Owings, who'll be followed by Lamb, and then Nick Ahmed coming up for Arizona. 5, 6, and 7 in their lineup. And none of those three have produced a hit tonight. They are combined 0 for 9. K-Rod trying to keep them that way. 2-0 Brewers. Started him with a fastball, and Owings was ready for it, but he pulls it foul.
He's been throwing a lot of fastballs as of late. I mean, I think teams are going up there thinking change up. Frankie has had a kind of a unique ability this year to throw exactly the opposite of what a hitter's thinking.
Another fastball. That one's driven into right center field. Braun can't get there. All the way to the wall. And Owings on his way to third. The throw comes in late. That's a leadoff triple.
Hey, how big is that extra run, right? Well, the Brewers with a 2-run lead. Owings with a leadoff triple. Hammered that fastball into the gap. And missed his spot. That was right down the middle. Rodriguez has been very good on the corners, and Owings can fly. Able to get in there with a 3-bagger.
Tying run to the plate now. Jake Lamb. Owings at third. And a changeup. Big swing and a miss. K-Rod's got the long streak going right now. 26 straight saves. 21 in a row this year. Mark Melancon of the Pirates has the longest consecutive save streak going. 28. 2 all-star closers. Another swing and a miss.
Yeah, young hitters have a very difficult time with that changeup. They get burned with a fastball, go to the out pitch, the cambio, the changeup.
Lamb 0 for 3. Doesn't bite on this one. Runner at third, nobody out. But the guy at the plate is the one that counts. He's the tying run. Here's a 1-2. Got him. Went back to the change.
And just such a difficult pitch for a young hitter to lay off of, particularly one that hadn't seen much of Francisco Rodriguez's change. Here it is, way out front. Perfect pitch down in the dirt.
Big out for Rodriguez. One away now. Here's Nick Ahmed, Arizona shortstop. He is 0 for 3, although he did line out his last time up. Lined out to left. Brewers play it back. They'll gladly concede a run for an out. There's a strike, a bender in there for strike one. His first curveball.
Pretty much straight away, infield back. They're really not too worried about Owings.
Change up, swing and a miss. 0-2 the count. Picture perfect.
Nothing to do with that when you throw it there.
They say Trevor Hoffman had the greatest changeup of all time. Francisco Rodriguez's changeup is starting to move in that direction.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ready to go GOAT on it, but it's getting close. 0-2 pitch. Got a piece. Stays alive. Rangy shortstop, Nick Ahmed. That is Cliff Pennington. He'll hit next. The pinch hit for Oscar Hernandez. Brewers got a big run in the top of this inning on a wild pitch. Parra was able to score after he led the inning off with a single. Otherwise, this is a much different feel right now. 2-0 Milwaukee. The 0-2 missed with a fastball.
The infield would be in right now. This is a one-run game. I haven't thrown a fastball for a strike since Owings hit the triple.
In the air, center field. This will be deep enough to score a run, but it is out number 2.
Not getting that any day. That's 2 outs.
2-1 now, Milwaukee. Incidentally, that is the first earned run that KHRIS has allowed. His streak of 26 consecutive innings without giving up a run is over.
In save situations, yeah, he's giving up runs in non-save situations, but he's got 1 run to play with and got a pinch hitter to deal with.
So instead of Pennington, Wellington Castillo will bat. Former Cub. Got a little pop in his bat, and you got to be careful on that first pitch. So it'll be Castillo here in the 8th spot of the order. If it gets to the 9th spot, then we'll see Pennington. Chip Hale going with a little power right here. 2-1 Brewers. 2 outs, 9th inning. Base is empty now. KHRIS still working in the stretch as always, even with nobody on base. And he dropped a curveball on him. That was a beauty.
Yeah, nobody looks for that pitch, first pitch. You might look for the changeup, fastball, but not that.
First earned run allowed in a save situation this season. And a shot. Oh, what a play by Segura. Throw to first, and it is in time. My goodness.
What a play.
That was big league right there. Kegman going home happy. Gene Segura making the play of the night to end the game.
Well, he's something else. This was a rocket off the bat of Wellington Castillo. Look at Segura. An in-between hop. That ball was by him. He got the glove and able to get his man at first base. What a way to end it. Good win for the Crew. Well, Gene Segura, the backhand and the throw to end this one tonight.
Well, Francisco Rodriguez giving up his first earned run in a save situation since August of last year, but it is a save, and the streak is still alive. 22 in a row this year, 27 in a row overall. KHRIS saves it for Jimmy Nelson, who wins his 8th of the season, and the Brewers win it 2-1. Time for Brewers Live. We check in with Jeff Grayson. He's standing by in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio.